everyone, welcome back to the channel. For today's project we're making a mixed media bug placard, whatever we're calling it, and it's kind of got inspired by the entomology, if I said that right, and how they pin specimens onto placards or plaques, or on frames, and you often see those in sort of that sort of old fashioned way of I guess looking into the background of all those insects and things. Anyway, so I had that was kind of the inspiration, so I decided to make my own version out of some plastic toys and toy bugs. And I have 3 pieces of wood here, 2 squares in different sizes, and this is like a thin, I want to say balsa wood, but I don't know if it's balsa wood, but it's like a thin wood, and a round one. And you could easily use these to make like little coasters and things like that as well. But I decided to layer them up in such a way that it would make kind of like this, like I say, placard. I don't know if that's the right word, but specimen piece. And if you do enough of them, you could even have like a whole, almost like a framed section with them all on there. So what I did was I took some plain tissue paper. Doesn't really matter the color because we're going to paint it anyway. And I slowly added some collage medium over the top onto sections of it, and then added the tissue paper just torn up and scrunched up. The more scrunch you get, the more texture you'll get in the background. Once I'd done that, I then took some cheesecloth or muslin, no, cheesecloth, and I just had a strip that I tore off. I've got a huge piece of it, so I just tore a little strip off and then just cut that up into sections as well, and did the same thing, just added some adhesive collage medium onto the wood and then just dropped it in there and almost like painted the glue over the top to get it to stick down where I wanted it. Now my grit paste that I'm using is very dry. Note to self, use your product because it does dry out, but because the glue was still wet, the collage medium was still wet, which it would be, it actually helped move the grit paste around a bit, so it helped a little. And I just kept pressing and working with it, because although it is very dry now, it's not completely useless, so I made it work. And again, all these layers that we're adding on here, the tissue paper, the grit paste, the cheesecloth, they're all there just to add textures in the background, which I know you can't see right now and it looks like nothing, but when we add the gesso over the top, which we're going to do now, and we add the color later on, it brings the whole thing to life. And it's my favorite bit is that bit. All the prep work is one thing, but my favorite is adding all the colors and waxes, and I always love the metallics for these because I think it has the most impact. So first of all, I'm doing my excuse the noise in the background, if you can hear that. My dog's getting the post, just because you have to know that. And what I'm doing is I'm painting with some gesso. I've got a Pebbio brand, I think I've said that right. I've got the Pebbio brand, and it's a good starting point. I think there might be more like better quality ones out there, but this one's done me really well so far, and it's a huge jar of it. So I thought I'd start off by painting the bug completely black, and including the underneath, because you will see that like edges of it from the side once we get it stuck on. Then I thought it would be a good idea to stick this on at this point, but actually it's not, because I want to make sure that the entire piece is covered in gesso as well before I actually stick them together. Same principle as the bug, you will see the unpainted surface if you don't paint it before you stick the bug on, if that makes sense. So after you've done all the other work on it, you'll still see whatever's not been painted underneath. So this is where I got impatient, because this isn't actually dry yet. So do as I say, not as I do. I would probably let the first few layers dry for maybe even half an hour or something like that, just to give them a chance, and then I would paint it with your gesso. But I, like I say, impatient, so I got it all painted. I painted the edges and the top of, like the whole of the top of all of it, but I left the back unpainted. I may go back now that it's completely finished and just add some gesso just to the back of it, or just a plain paint to the back. You're not going to see that depending on what you're going to use it for, or if it's just going to be an art piece on a wall or something like that, you're not going to see the back of it, so that's okay. But I would be inclined to do that later on, while it's still drying and you're doing all the fun bit. I wouldn't bother with it, which I didn't. So now I have a crafty tool pick, the Tim Holtz one, and a pin that has one of those little bobble things on the end. I just had it in my stash, and so I cut it to the length I wanted, and I just used the Tim Holtz pokey tool, that's what I call it, to make a hole in the neckline of the bug. I'm not going to stick it in yet because I'm going to do all the colouring first, but afterwards at least the hole's there already and I don't have to fiddle and faff with that later on. So this is now all dry. And so I have some gilding polish from Cosmic Shimmer. This is I want to say it's called something like Golden Treasure or something like that, but it's a gold, and it's a really nice gold. It's kind of like it reminds me of like an old gold, if that makes sense. So it's not that bright yellow kind of gold, and it looks very cool. And I'm just using a dry brush to go over the edges of all the the whole background layer, so not the bug, although his legs will get a little bit of gold on them. They're really teeny tiny, so they're gonna you can't help that sometimes. Mostly it's the base that I'm doing. Now I could have done the whole base and then put the bug on like I explained earlier, but yeah, impatient. So I'm just, as best I can, I'm getting the gold as much underneath as I can of the bug. That part you're not really going to notice, and it's not so bad, but the texture that comes out from all the cheesecloth and the tissue paper and the grit paste is incredible. And even just looking at it there, you can see how that's so it's not flat in its appearance and that. So for the bug, I'm using a couple of Finnabair waxes. I think one is the blue one is Midnight and the red is Red Flame, and I I love these. No, not yet. My cat wants to get out. I love these waxes. They smell divine, and I'm just using my finger to pick it up and rub it over the edges where I want it on the bug. Be sure to use a different finger for each colour. But where on the wings, where the blue and the red meet, it creates like a purpley shade, which if you know your colour wheel, then you know that's what it does. Purple and red will not purple and red, blue and red will make a purple. So I thought that was kind of cool, so I kind of ran with that. And then I'm using the excess blue and just going around the top 2 layers, just around the edges of it, just to give it a little bit of something. And then the red, what's left of the red wax, I will add to the edge of the base piece. My cat's howling to get out. This is why I don't do this when they're in here normally. So just adding that to around the edges of the piece and around the base piece, and that is pretty much it. We still need to add the little pin into the little dude, and don't worry, he's already dead, so it's fine. And all I did with that is I took the like metal part of the pin and just stuck it in the collage medium, and it was enough glue to get into the little thingy, into the little hole. And once it dries, honestly, you can pick it up now by that pin and it doesn't move. So I hope this has been fun. I hope you guys give this a whirl. I think this will be a good project with a bit of supervision for an older child, but I think this is such a cool technique with just getting loads of textures, loads of layers, and you know, bugs. I mean, why not? Especially around this time of year with Halloween coming up. So, or in my case, all year round. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. And until next time, bye for now.